Hello and welcome to Andy's Reviews. I'm back today after about 18 months of not providing any reviews on YouTube to address some of the issues and some of the remarks that I've seen online relating to the Dark Knight Rises trailer and just the kind of vitriolic ridiculousness of the comments that I've seen online to a film that hasn't even been released yet. So I'm just going to put forward my opinion and why I think this film will be the defining moment of 2012 in terms of modern Hollywood. So yes, I think people have forgotten in terms of The Dark Knight Rises that they've forgotten the talent behind the film. So obviously you have Christopher Nolan returning for a third time. Nolan, the man who began with the short film Following, shot in black and white in London on a shoestring budget, so much so that his wife actually appears in a scene as an extra, and something that he had to shoot in his friends' houses because he didn't have enough money to even get a permit to shoot on the streets of London. And yet Following manages to be quite an edgy and dramatically succinct thriller, but in the context of a very, very small budget, beautifully shot. Then you have Memento, then the Al Pacino film Insomnia, elegantly claustrophobic thriller, absolutely superb. Then obviously you have Batman Begins, which was one before The Dark Knight, was probably what most people saw as the best superhero film since the first Superman film, which I don't like, but people seem to. And then obviously you have Inception last year, which to me was the perfect example of a good script, good character, superb themes, and beautifully nuanced performances in terms of having an ensemble cast focused around the brilliant actor Leonardo DiCaprio. And of course, in that film, you had Marion Cotillard, who provided the emotional core of the film. Beautiful script, beautiful film. But we're not here to talk about Inception, we're here to talk about The Dark Knight Rises. I think some of the problems that people have had with the trailer, in terms of Gary Oldman being sat there mumbling, while Christian Bale then comes on and mumbles, "What if he doesn't exist anymore?" It's beautiful. That's the Batman universe that Nolan's created, a universe rooted in talent. And I think just to go back to that in terms of narrative, I think what Nolan's done with Batman is to put himself up there with the likes of Frank Miller, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, Jim Lee, in terms of people who've created Batman stories like The Long Halloween, Batman Year One, some of the best stories ever. I think in cinema terms, Nolan will be remembered with those storytellers from the comic books as being one of the people who defined Batman for my generation. It wasn't Tim Burton, as much as we would like to think so. It was Christopher Nolan, which is a beautiful thing. And I think in terms of the talent that you have behind the film, Christian Bale, Oscar winner for The Fighter last year, superb roster of films. If you think of Gary Oldman, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is one of the best films of this year. You have Marion Cotillard, who's an Oscar winner, and to me is my favourite actress, a beautiful French actress who brings so much versatility to a role, so much emotional kind of fragility, and yet so much female strength that it just totally overbears you emotionally. She's superb in any role, although Hollywood seem to prefer to cast her in supporting roles. Nolan included, but I think the character of Mal in Inception more or less defined the film. So you have those performers. Obviously you have Michael Caine returning, Morgan Freeman. Then if you think, we obviously have Anne Hathaway in the film. I think some of the comments that have come out after people have seen the Catwoman costume for the first time, I think it looks absolutely stunning. I remember I went to Washington DC, I went to the History Museum, and I saw the original Catwoman costume, and I think the strange thing is, in such a modern Batman universe, Nolan, in the shots that I've seen so far, has kind of gone back to that a little bit, just in terms of just as well as he went back to the fact that nobody knew where the Joker came from in the original Batman stories from the 1930s to 40s. So I think Nolan understands what Batman is about, but he also understands how to make it an almost postmodern creation. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Then you have Tom Hardy as Bane. Tom Hardy's been one of the best actors working in Great Britain and around America for years now, and I think kind of he's just coming into his own. So Tom Hardy is absolutely superb. So, and then in terms of the shooting of the film, you have Wally Pfister, one of the best cinematographers in the world, if not the best. Nobody shoots a scene like Wally Pfister. No one knows how to light a scene. No one knows how to shoot effects like Wally Pfister. IMAX cameras. Did I mention that? IMAX. There's no 3D in The Dark Knight Rises, which to me makes it the most watchable blockbuster that will come through next year. IMAX is the future of cinema. I think all cinema lovers know that, and people who don't should go and buy themselves some more 3D glasses and go and burn them, because you won't need them for much longer. After people have seen what this format can do, it's the best format to work with, which is why the Mission Impossible film this year is on IMAX, and obviously Nolan began that kind of innovative way of shooting with IMAX cameras. It is the future. 3D is on the way out. Nolan understands that, and he also understands what pure cinema is about. So yes, to all you naysayers, I say, no, stop. The Dark Knight Rises will be the defining moment of next year. For me personally, as a Batman as a Batman fan, rather, for 20 years, to me, this is the way it was supposed to be. You know, I'll just be sad that the dream is over when Nolan, Christian Bale and company finally hang up the cape and cowl. So, Dark Knight Rises will be one of the best films of next year. I said it here first. If you don't agree with me, then I'm wasting my motherfucking time. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I got a bit worked up there. I'm just tired of all of the nonsense that I've seen around. Okay, thank you for listening. That's fantastic.